Hey, what's new and exciting? It's Kevin O'Shaughnessy here, and today I'm going to share with you some ideas on how you can create your own strumming patterns. If you're new to the channel, thanks so much for stopping by. Again, my name is Kevin O'Shaughnessy, and I've been a professional musician for about 20 years and a guitar instructor for 13. I mostly talk about the mechanics of playing the guitar, but I also discuss musical concepts, songwriting, and a little music production, all to help you find your voice on the instrument. If that sounds at all interesting to you, please consider subscribing and adjust your notifications to taste. In a previous video, I discussed a strumming technique where you keep your arm in constant motion. Every downstroke falls on the beat, every upstroke falls on the and or in between the beat. So for a simple quarter note pattern, it would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And for an eighth note pattern, it would look like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The reason this works is because every time I play a downstroke, I have to reset my hand above the string so that I can play the next downstroke. So by simply attacking the strings on the way up or skipping the strings on the way up, I can create new and varied patterns. Now, before we get started with creating the patterns, there's a link to a PDF below. Click on that and download it. The PDF is written in standard notation, and if you don't read that, I can understand how that might look a little odd to you, but I included the counting with most of the examples, so you'll get an idea for how you're supposed to strum it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our quarter note pattern, okay? This is just downstrokes. The important thing here is until you become comfortable with the patterns, you want to count each beat, because as you'll find later on, if you start looping these patterns after a while, even though they're different, they're going to start to sound the same unless you're very clear about where the start of the pattern is. So first, let's take a look at our quarter note pattern. I'm just going to grab a G chord, but you can play whatever chord feels comfortable to you. And again, I'm going to count out every downstroke. I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how my hand resets, right? I do the downstroke, it bounces right back up. Now I'm going to review that eighth note pattern one more time, and it's going to look like this. I'm going to count it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that quarter note pattern and we're going to systematically insert eighth notes to create new patterns. So I'll start with the quarter notes, and the first eighth note that I am going to add is the eighth note after 1, what we call the and of 1. So we're splitting beat 1 into 2 equal parts before we land on beat 2. So you'd count the pattern as 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. And it looks like this. 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. 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 Pretty simple, right? Now we're going to take that eighth note that we inserted and we're going to move it from the and of 1 to the and of 2. So that count is going to be 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. Like this. 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4. 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 Now we'll take the and that we put between 2 and 3, and we'll put it between 3 and 4. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 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 And lastly, we're going to take the eighth note now, and we're going to put it on the and of 4. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay? Pretty simple. Now, once you feel comfortable with all of those patterns, you can start adding 2 eighth notes. All right? I'll give you a couple of examples of what that's going to look like. I'm going to put an eighth note on the end of 1 and on the end of 2. So now we've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 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 Now we can take that same pattern and reverse it. We can do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and like this. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, pretty simple. You can also put those 2 eighth notes in the middle. You can do 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. All right, which would sound like this. 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 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 Now this isn't an exhaustive list by any stretch. Even on the PDF, there's room for you to create your own patterns. You might spread out the 2 eighth notes that are in there. You could do a pattern like 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2, like that. You could also add 3 eighth notes. You could do a pattern like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Or the other way around, 1 and 2, and 3, and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, okay? So you can see that there are a lot of different possibilities by adding or subtracting eighth notes. And again, the whole secret to that is that you keep your hand in constant motion. Now, if you're trying to play a pattern and you're having a hard time missing the strings, if you need to draw small circles, right? So you kind of pull your arm away. So you do 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, right? So you get a little circle in there. You can do that. However, when you get more comfortable with it, you want to try to create more of a pendulum motion with your arm, even though that pendulum is kind of on the side. You want to create more of a pendulum motion with that rather than drawing these circles, because it's an inefficient motion. But if you need to do that in order to get the pattern, that's totally cool. It's kind of like putting training wheels on a bike. Now, the other cool part with this is you can take these rhythm patterns and you can apply it to your scale playing as well, okay? I know we said we were going to talk about strumming, and we did, but this is a little bonus tip for you. If I do that same rhythm, let's just take the first one, the 1 and 2, 3, 4, and apply it to my scale playing, I get something like this. I'm going to use the G major scale. For those of you who know the 3 notes per string pattern, it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 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 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you can move that eighth note along through all of the different beats, and you can practice it at different speeds. And now you're taking parts of your scale, and instead of just running it up and down with the same note value, now you're creating something that can become the basis for sequences or melodic patterns, okay? You can do that with your arpeggio patterns too, right? If that's something that you're working on at this point, you can take these rhythms and apply them to your arpeggios so that you don't have to just sweep up and down or just pick through them as part of, say, a jazz improv thing or something like that. Or even if you're, it doesn't even need to be jazz improv, right? If most of the stuff that you're doing involves, say, acoustic guitar playing, and you're working on strumming patterns or flat picking patterns or things like that, you can use these rhythms there too, right? If I'm just going to take my G major chord and I can do 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4. And again, you can use that to come up with patterns. The trick is, or I should say rather, the goal here is to play through the patterns until you feel competent with them. Then pick the ones that you really like, okay? This is how you're going to find your voice. Pick the ones that sound the best to you. There's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. Which ones sound the best to you? Which ones make you feel good when you're playing them? Which ones are easy to play? Combine all of that, and that's how you're going to take this technique and make it your own. There are going to be patterns that you gravitate toward. every player has patterns that they gravitate towards, the ones that they use the most often. You're going to find the same thing, and you're going to be able to add that to any song that you're playing. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, please like the video. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. I hope you're taking care of yourself and the people around you during these crazy times. In the meantime, have fun practicing the guitar. I am Kevin O'Shaughnessy. I will see you in the next video.